I did one of these videos for fall, and a whole bunch of people asked me if I would do it for each season, so I'm gonna do it as we go along. We're in winter, so now it's time for 10 winter fragrances if all you care about is compliments. Hey friends, Ash here with Gents. Hope you're doing well. Like I said, each one of these fragrances I'm gonna feature here today is really good for compliments. Lots of these are sweet fragrances, but all of them are fantastic for wintertime. We got a lot to talk about, a bunch of fragrances, so let's jump into it. Lots of these fragrances here are really sweet. Lots of these fragrances have really high performance. So I'm not really gonna mention that as I go through each one of these. I'm not gonna go, hey guys, this has great performance, and so does this, and this, and this, and this, and this, and this. Just understand that pretty much all of these perform really well. All right, first fragrance is this one right here, Versace Eros. This is the original Eau de Toilette. You could just as easily go with the Eau de Parfum. That's also a huge compliment puller, as is Eros Flame. But I think that this one fits best into this list. This one has mint, green apple, tonka, vanilla, and ambroxan. That's some of the notes in the fragrance. And this one is probably most well known for being a big clubbing fragrance, big night out fragrance. It's on the youthful side of things. That is because of that sweetness. Like I mentioned, a lot of these have that. This one though has more of that youthful, some people might say bubblegum kind of sweetness to it. It's a big attention grabber, a big compliment puller, which I said I wouldn't mention, and I just did. Versace Eros, one of the most well-known designer fragrances out there, and that's because people love it so much. This one, huge compliment puller, and if that's all you care about, check this one out. Like I said though, it is gonna appeal more to younger guys than it is older. This next fragrance is a little bit forgotten at this point, a little bit overlooked, overshadowed by other fragrances released from the same house. It's Black Excess from PACO RABANNE. This one is a great attention grabbing fragrance. It has praline, it's got cinnamon, it has rosewood, tolu balsam, and some citrus in there, some of the notes in the fragrance. This one, a little bit like Eros, and also like 1 Million from PACO RABANNE, is a great night out fragrance, great clubbing fragrance. This one has an almost kind of syruped sweetness in the opening, and my wife absolutely loves this one. She didn't know anything about it, and I had her check this out a little while back, and she was just blown away. She was like, why have I never heard of this fragrance? And I said, well, it's just kind of overlooked now. When it came out, it wasn't. People really liked it, people wore it a lot, but then over time, it's just kind of faded away. This one, like Eros, probably is going to appeal more to younger guys out there, and nowadays the bottle design is different. It comes in a pure excess looking bottle rather than this older bottle style. The next fragrance here needs almost no introduction. It's from one of the most popular men's fragrance lines ever. It's Armani Code Profumo. It has tonka, amber leather, and cardamom as some of the notes in the fragrance. It has this really nice, almost sparkling, effervescent opening where some people are gonna compare it to a carbonated beverage. And this one just is absolutely killer as far as drawing positive attention goes. You could also go with Armani Code Absolu, which is a little bit similar to this, but I actually like it a little bit more than Profumo. But I think Absolu is better suited for fall and Profumo a little bit better for winter. So if you only care about compliments and you're in the winter time, this one should be on your short list of fragrances to get. Let's go from one Armani fragrance to another. Technically though, this is Emporio Armani, not Giorgio Armani. It's Stronger With You Intensely, and I do think you should go with this one over the original Stronger With You, especially in winter. This one has toffee, cinnamon, vanilla, and amber as some of the notes in the fragrance. And this one gives you sort of a gourmandy edge to it, like a slightly edible edge. This one also is very warm, very enticing, very alluring, very inviting and sexy. So that one is great in a number of situations. You could use that as a date night fragrance as well. Probably wouldn't go super heavy as far as using it as a date night fragrance because you don't want it to overwhelm the person that you're with, but it's fantastic in lots of different situations in the winter. This next one is hugely popular and for a really good reason. This one took the original DNA of the fragrance line and pretty much enhanced it across the board. This one, hands down, in my opinion, better than the original. It's SpiceBomb Extreme by Viktor and Rolf. This one has vanilla, tobacco, saffron, and cinnamon as some of the notes in the fragrance. The vanilla really works wonders in Spice Bomb Extreme. Much improved over the original, like I said. The black vanilla here gives it a nice contrast, rounds off the edges a little bit, not quite as aggressive, and the added sweetness makes it more appealing to more people. As I mentioned before, pretty much all these fragrances have great performance, but this one really stands out. This one is fantastic. It will last all day or all night, no issues whatsoever. So if you only care about compliments and you're somewhere where it's very cold and you need something with a lot of power, this one right here, Spice Bomb Extreme. This next fragrance kickstarted a really popular men's line of fragrances from the house. It is Salvatore Ferragamo Uomo, the original. This one is a surprisingly huge compliment getter. A lot of people might not expect this one to be a massive compliment getter because it does come from Ferragamo, which is not as highly regarded as some of the other houses, really all the houses that we've talked about so far, but it absolutely is. And another big positive about this fragrance, it's inexpensive. This one, from discounters anyway, is going to run you less than every other fragrance we've talked about so far. This one has tiramisu, it has sandalwood, it's got tonka, it's got ambroxan in there as well. Tiramisu gives this one kind of a sweet coffee feel to it, and that's the main thing that people are going to focus in on with this fragrance, is that really nice, inviting, warm, and sweet coffeed tiramisu. You do also have a little bit of a sweet spiciness from cardamom in here, but that's not really where the focus is. That one's just kind of a nuance, that note, kind of a supporting note. There's also Uomo's signature from this line that would be great in winter for pulling compliments as well. Overall, this one is slightly more versatile than Uomo's signature, which is why I include the original Uomo. Next up, a fragrance from the house of AZZARO. This one, a huge improvement over the original, though it's not really that close to the original. It's Wanted by Night. This one has cinnamon, mandarin, tobacco, and incense as some of the notes in the fragrance, and this one's actually surprisingly unique. It does its own thing, and it does it very well. It's got this nice kind of mysteriousness to it. It's not overly sweet, but it has enough sweetness there to be appealing. People that are older can wear this, people that are younger can wear this. This one is a big, big, big improvement over the original, which smelled pretty close to Invictus. And everyone knows that PACO Rabanne Invictus is my absolute favorite fragrance DNA ever. I lied, it's not. This one though, absolutely fantastic. A little bit smoky, a little bit mysterious, that spiciness really well done. It's got a little bit of an edge to it as well. It's a great scent. This next one is from Christian Dior. I've actually got a couple Diors coming up. This takes the original's DNA, it modernizes it, it adds vanilla, adds sweetness, adds a boozy touch. Fahrenheit Le Parfum. This one has violet from the original. It's got suede, so a little bit of that leather in here as well. But then it has a bourbon vanilla note and rum. And this right here, you may not think that this is a big compliment puller because this is Fahrenheit, and a lot of people think, oh, Dior Fahrenheit, you know, it smells like gasoline. It's very dated, some people would say 80s fragrance, but no. This right here, this is a stunner. This one has been off and on difficult to find at discounters. It's not the easiest fragrance to find in the US, but it is absolutely worth tracking this one down. This one has fantastic performance. It's very classy, it's sophisticated, it's grown up, but at the same time, that booziness, that vanilla does give it this nice, slightly youthful edge to it, this nice bit of sweetness that kind of boosts it up into a more versatile territory of use. I've loved this fragrance since the first time I smelled it. I think it's awesome, but I really underestimated how much of a compliment puller this one is. Once I started wearing this around people and I started consistently getting positive feedback, then I realized this one stretches beyond being loved by just fragrance people, fragrance aficionados. It's really, really, really good. Let's hop from one Dior fragrance to another. This one is from the SAUVAGE line, and it's SAUVAGE Parfum. For me, this is the SAUVAGE that you'd want to reach for in wintertime. This one does not have quite the aggressiveness as the Eau de Toilette or the Eau de Parfum even, but in cool weather, this one is solid. This one has olibanum, tonka, sandalwood, and citrus as some of the notes in the fragrance. You're not gonna find that big ambroxan punch here. So if you hate that from the Eau de Toilette and lesser amounts, but still in the Eau de Parfum, don't worry, because that's not here. And that peppery nature that the Eau de Toilette has, also not here. This one is more like the grown-up take on Sauvage. I actually think that scent profile-wise, this one is the nicest smelling. Performance-wise, it's not on par with the Eau de Toilette or the Eau de Parfum, but the kind of class that this one exudes is different than the Eau de Toilette and the Eau de Parfum. This one's a little more grown up. This one's a little more refined. It's got a little bit of a smokiness to it. And I feel like it's better in more formal situations, business situations, things like that. Also potentially a better date night fragrance where it's not quite as aggressive as the Eau de Toilette or the Eau de Parfum. And in cold weather and winter, like I said, this one is my go-to as far as the Sauvage fragrances go. I wasn't really super in love with Sauvage Parfum initially. A lot of that had to do with the pricing at retail. It is very high. I would say definitely buy that from a discounter, save yourself some money. Ultimately though, this one does have that blue fragrance versatility. You can use it about anywhere. Everybody's gonna love it. And it's just an easy to wear fragrance. All right, last fragrance. This one is from John Varvatos. It's one of their Nick Jonas fragrances. It's Crimson, JVXNJ Crimson. This one has rum, saffron, green apple, coffee, and suede as some of the notes in the fragrance. In general, I'm not a huge fan of the John Varvatos Nick Jonas fragrances, but I think this is the best of the bunch for what that's worth. On a personal level, out of all these fragrances here, this is the one I'd wear the least of. It's not a fragrance I'm in love with, but for people that are just looking for compliments, which is what this video is about, it does get those. The coffee is not really a focal point of the fragrance. This one's more boozy sweet and has that apple fruity freshness off the top. You do get a little bit of saffron in here and the sweet spicy scents, especially in the opening and through the mid. This one is a very versatile fragrance. Good during the day, good during the evening. Actually works really well in the fall also. Maybe not the most unique fragrance on earth, but it's a great compliment pulling fragrance, and it's gonna wrap this list up, JVXNJ Crimson. So there we go, 10 different fragrances. If you want compliments and you have these fragrances and you wear them regularly around people and you don't get any compliments whatsoever, ever, something else going on there. And I can't help with that. I can just suggest these fragrances. Let me know in the comments below your favorite fragrance for the winter time that you wear when you're just looking for compliments. Compliments only. That's gonna do it for me, guys. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today. Thanks for all your support. Stay safe out there. I'll see you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you guys.